And most of those people, when they were confronted afterwards, were like, well, I wouldn't have done this normally, but I was there because, I was helping my companion, or, I was aiding my friend in the field, or, like they genuinely don't really know why they were there, or they thought they were doing the right thing, they thought they were doing good, whatever the case may be. So somehow in their own heads, they had figured out how to justify what they were doing. If you can only support creators who provide value and make you think, please consider contributing to my Patreon page the next time you watch one of my videos. Hello everybody and welcome. Today I want to talk about the monster within. So there are a couple people in my life that when I talk to them about certain topics, they usually respond with, "Oh, I could never be like that. I could never do that. I'm a good person. I could never go there." And personally, to me, this is probably the most terrifying response. Because when they give this kind of response, I'm usually talking about, like the bad things that happen in the world. How people kill and how people rape and abuse and things like that. So when somebody says, "Oh, I could never be like that, I could never do those things," it makes me kind of go to a place where I'm like, well, you could probably justify just about anything if you wanted to. And when somebody says, "I could never be like that, I'm a good person," it usually means that they're hiding from an aspect of themselves that they dislike. And if that aspect makes them do something, which is almost inevitable if you have rejected a part of yourself, then they will justify it as, "I was trying to help. I was provoking them into growth. I was protecting this or that. I was protecting this person." And we tend to be able to do this with just about anything that we believe ourselves incapable of, or when something happens or we do something that we do not agree with, but cannot stop ourselves from doing. So in my eyes, it's really important that we actually look at these aspects of ourselves that we dislike, and we see the circumstances in which we can behave in these negative manners. We need to step into the shoes of the things that we fear the most and figure out how we could be that person, how we could become the serial killer that we are so afraid of, how we would end up the person who abuses their significant other, or, the people around them and things like this. And it's not because I want you to become this person, but it's because you need to understand that this aspect does exist within you, and the only way that you can really aid it in not presenting itself in a negative way is by accepting it as a part of you and then saying, "Yes, I see you, but there's a better way." And you can't do that if you're saying, "Well, that's just not a part of me. It's not part of my makeup. It's not there." You actually have to recognize that it is there. And I call this confronting the monster within. A lot of other teachers call this stuff like shadow work, where you're finding the aspects of yourself that you rejected, and you're kind of working through them to figure out how to heal the wounds that have been created by past circumstances and whatnot. And while I like the concept of shadow work, it usually deals more with pain. And while the monster concept does deal with pain on many fronts, it's really about seeing that you could be anybody, that you could do anything, and then learning how to channel that energy back towards a more positive end. I believe I've spoken once about the monster within, and I used Hitler as an example of this. Now, Hitler was undeniably a monster in the majority of people's eyes. He did something terrible that none of us would ever think was a good thing to do. But we also know that he wasn't the only one involved in it. He had a whole bunch of people working with him. And most of those people, when they were confronted afterwards, were like, "Well, I wouldn't have done this normally, but I was there because, I was helping my companion, or, I was aiding my friend in the field, or, like they genuinely don't really know why they were there, or they thought they were doing the right thing, they thought they were doing good, whatever the case may be. So somehow in their own heads, they had figured out how to justify what they were doing. And in the military, this is actually fairly common. This is where I believe the concept of why is so important, because when you're in the military and stuff, what happens when your general flips to the other side and takes you along with him? If you don't question the behavior, you could very well end up in a situation where you're committing crimes, doing terrible things, and particularly not in the name of your country, just because this authority figure told you to, and you've been told not to question it. And then, of course, there's the whole deeper issue of the monster within, where there's an aspect of you that automatically knows when something is right or wrong. And if you do the thing that is wrong, it means that you haven't embraced an aspect of yourself. The way that I describe this concept, the way that I describe looking at the monster within is kind of like there's a coin on the ground, and this coin has two sides. The side that's facing up is a negative, such as abuse. If you see that and you're terrified, then you usually back off. You start to pull yourself away, you start to reject it, you start to move back, you withdraw from the concept, you withdraw from the coin. And that means that the coin actually gets bigger, because it is magic, obviously, and continues to grow in size with every step that you take. So you can still see it just as clearly, but you keep backing further and further away, which means it continues to grow and grow and grow. And eventually it becomes so strong that it forces you to act, because it wants you to recognize this aspect of yourself. And when it comes to things like abuse, if you, instead of backing away, you picked up the coin and you flipped it over, then you would see the other side. You would see that abuse is a need for control to many extents, and that it's a protection mechanism. This is part of you trying to protect yourself from harm, or from hurt, or from pain. And then you can be like, okay, now I understand you. Now I understand what this coin means. And then you can look at that aspect of yourself. You can reintegrate it and say, hey, thank you for wanting to protect me. But we can do this without hurting people. You can protect me without going to this extreme. You can protect me without harming others and whatnot. So when it comes to this monster aspect, if you notice that you've been backing away from a particular trait, now's the time to start taking steps forward. It might take a little while for you to finally get back to the place where you can actually deal with it, but it is really important that you do get to that place, because once you deal with it, now you can really start to understand what this aspect of you was really trying to express. And any aspect of yourself is trying to help you grow. It's trying to help you move forward, and it's trying to help you be the best person that you can be. So even something that manifests in a terrible way, even something that looks awful and hurtful and angry, or, whatever the case may be, even that aspect is trying to aid you. And it's only by looking at that aspect, it's only by embracing what's truly there, that you can see what it's trying to teach you. And I mean, the lesson of any particular trait can be anything, really. You would have to figure that out for yourself. And it all starts with the question of why. You have to go into yourself and be like, well, why do I believe this? Why did I feel that way about this particular circumstance that made me believe this? And it's not always an easy journey. And you have to find the aspect first before you can start questioning it. But I can guarantee you, if you want to start embracing these aspects, if you really want to integrate more of yourself and, truly embrace your potential and truly become the kind of person that you want to be, then these things will start to present themselves to you. You'll start to recognize your own behavior, because instead of ignoring them, you're actually looking for these traits. And you're looking for how they came into existence and how you can change them. Now, I've been doing some hypnotherapy work with somebody, and I've been hypnotizing her and going kind of into questions. You know, she wants to learn about particular aspects of herself, and I approach that through hypnosis and ask her these questions and kind of figure out the roots of these issues. So in essence, I'm hypnotizing her and helping her work through confronting her monster in a safe environment. And for a long time, I've been looking at this going, well, things would be so much easier if I could just find another me, you know, that can help me find the monster within and start embracing it. But the truth is, you don't actually need hypnosis to do this work. You just need to be able to look within. And anybody can do that. Anybody can look at their own behavior and say, wow, okay, so what is causing this? What is making me do this? You know, why did I say that? What made me do this? You know, like if you insulted somebody, why did I insult them? Why did that feel necessary? Why did I need to do that? And once you start questioning it, it really is amazing how the answers come to you and how you can really start to learn where things have hurt you in the past and what kinds of things, what kinds of lessons you misinterpreted back when you were young, before you had this analytical brain to some extent. If you wanted to do hypnotherapy, that is always an option. And eventually I'll probably start offering hypnotherapy to people as well. So, I mean, you can always come to me for that one. But this is work you can do on your own. And that is something that I've told this woman as well. Is I'm like, I am merely a guide. I only kind of help you reach a piece of yourself that you could have reached on your own. I'm just making it go a little bit faster. You know, I'm a really good guide in that I can get you there quickly, but you could have gotten there on your own. You know, you didn't need me. You could have done this work yourself. So it is quite interesting, and it's amazing how freeing it is. I mean, she's told me on several occasions how healed she feels after one of our sessions together. And that's the same way that I feel when I find a belief that hasn't been serving me for a long time, and I recognize it and then start the work to change it. You know, I feel like I just discovered a piece of the universe, you know, a piece of the puzzle, and oh my gosh, it feels so good. So I know that shadow work is not easy. I know that confronting the monster within is not going to be easy, but it is very, very freeing, and it does help you grow and move forward. So if you are at all interested in moving forward, and if you are scared of the concept of somebody saying, I can never do that, and justifying it when they do, then you really should start doing this work and confronting the monster within and see where it can take you. So that's everything I have to say today. I hope you enjoy this video, maybe learn something, maybe feel inspired to take a little bit more active role in discovering who you are. And yeah, I hope this has helped in some way at all, you know. And if it has, make sure you click on the like button, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and then if you have any questions, comments, ideas for videos, or topics you'd like me to cover, definitely leave those in the comments and I will do my best to respond. So, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Talk to you again soon. Bye.